Hello and welcome to Tablet Weaving with Children. Now what we're doing is I already have the warp set up here. This is just very simple. Really this is for sort of 8 to 9-year-olds. Have the warp set up, and this is just to explain how weaving works, developing some fine motor skills with actually turning the tablets, turning the cards. It doesn't matter if you call these cards or if you call them tablets. I suppose, strictly speaking, in that context, the tablet would be something like this. These are for reenacting. These are wooden. Buy things like this really easily on Etsy. Wood, bone or horn. Wood kind of feels nice under your fingers. So the little stand here was made for me when I was making friendship bands with at a workshop. But you don't have a stand like this. Don't have anyone to make you one, or do you want to make one yourself? Don't worry too much. The other thing, if I just turn the camera around here, you can do hair, turn it upside down, put it on the table. So what I have here is this is a pattern called arrowheads. I'll just turn that around for you. You see we have arrowheads on there. So this is a pattern using 8 cards, all written on, all marked up. Maybe 8 cards would be a little too much for small fingers to turn, and simply to explain how weaving works and all the rest of it, 4 is kind of enough. So here we are, simply 4 cards, old cereal packets, old Christmas cards, Tetra packs, anything like that. A hole punched in each corner, 2 of each colour, so quite contrasting colours. I'm just using black and white here, doesn't really matter, any colour will do. So we have black on the top, white underneath. So we have, this is our warp, these are our warp threads, and what we have here, make sure you have what's that? Make sure you have all the black on the top, all the white underneath, which are the colours you're using, but strongly contrasting colours. I have no, I don't. Yes, I do. I have a black one here, which has gone astray. So making sure that we have all the black. There you go. All the black threads on the top. All the black threads on the top, and all the white threads, and all the white threads underneath. Now the hole here between your warp threads is your shed. Weavers talk a lot about sheds, either the shed that they have for working in or the weaver's shed, the space between the warp threads that you put your shuttle through. We're not using a shuttle today, we're just using our fingers. But what we do is we take our weft, here's our weft, we thread it through the shed. Now this is the clever bit, just the camera bit there. Ta-da! This is the clever bit about tablet weaving. We take our tablets, we put our fingers underneath, our thumb on top, and we turn. Magically, we've changed our colours. Now, this is the bit that children often have difficulty with. They're absolutely fine with going left to right. That makes sense to them. They're very focused on reading and writing at this age, sort of 8 to 9 year olds. Everything is left, right, then back to the left, right again. So the idea of taking your weft and going back through the other way, going right to left, is a bit more challenging for them. What a lot of children will tend to do. Here we are, another turn, and I now have white on top. As if by magic, we have changed the warp threads, so we'll get a pattern appearing here. Just stripes, but it's a pattern as we start weaving. So here is my weft. I'm bringing this towards me, so I'm going left to right again, tamping this up. So make sure that you're going through the correct bit of the shed here. Make sure you have, in this case, all your white threads at the top, or your black threads underneath. Turn again. So we turn the warp threads, change the pattern on the warp. Now this is the bit, when you say right, then we go back right to left. Children will often take the weft over the top like that and then put it back through the shed that way, which is the point where you have to undo it. I was like, no, we also go right to left. It's a little bit like, I think, going anti-clockwise. They seem to find that a bit more challenging. With this pattern, we're turning our threads. We're turning the tablets the same way every time. This is such a simple pattern. It doesn't really matter, but it's just good sort of weaver's discipline. Back through the shed. Yep, towards. So we're doing a lot of things here. We're practicing fine motor control. We're thinking in different planes. And in a sneaky kind of way, we're kind of learning a bit of binary, because in this case it's black, white, but weaving is always under, over, so it's always 0, 1, 0, 1. Tamp this up nice and tight. Back to me. It's not rocket science, is it? The basis of weaving isn't rocket science, but you can see I have stripes appearing there. Yeah. Very simple cards, very easy to make. Do number them. 1, 2. These are all upside down by now. 3, 4. So as you go through with your weaving, stop every now and again and just make sure that your numbers are all the same way up. If one of your cards is out, do correct it. If you are weaving a pattern with tablet weaving, which is the point of tablet weaving, is to make a pattern, every pick has to be right. What does she mean by a pick? This is a pick. Putting your weft through the shed, turning the tablets to change the warp, tamping it up, taking your weft back the other way. So with most looms, you would either be pulling your heddle towards you with an upright loom, or with your feet changing your shed that way. If you've seen the Vikings TV series, Lagatha of course weaves. She works standing up at an upright loom. They were still in use in Norway until the 1950s. Weaving, of course, by the Middle Ages, weaving was practiced sitting down, and was much more complicated, and the bit that we're doing here simply with the tablets was you did that with your feet, which is the point where it became a male occupation. Right, turn again. There we are, and already we have our stripes forming here. So it's quite a good thing actually to do with children, because they are, practicing motor skills, learning a bit about how things work, learning how to take a thread and actually make. All right, it's not a piece of cloth, but it is, it is a strip of fabric. Yeah, and people have always done this, so we are also connecting with our ancestors here. Right. So you're going to need to set up. You're going to need to set up the tablet. It's going to need to set up the cards. Now, for this, because it's just stripes, it's so simple. But if you're going to make, if you are going to make a pattern, we'll come on to that shortly. You also need to know about S and Z threading. Rope makers and spinsters talk about S and Z threading. If I take one of my cards here, I'll thread this one as an S. If you draw an S, everything's backwards, I know, but if you draw an S in the air, you find, yeah, it goes left to right. So that's what I've done here. I have my S, well, my left, that way. To thread something Z threaded, draw a Z, and you go right to left. So we go, yeah, so we're making, I'll stop thinking about that. So we're making a Z. Every card needs to be threaded the same way, otherwise when you turn them, it will jam. But if you do get it wrong, if an S becomes a Z, it simply changes the pattern. So you can have fun with it. I'll just show you. This is what I'm doing here with the chair. Showed you earlier. This is arrowheads, a very simple basic pattern. You can also use this to make a diamond if you turn your tablets the other way, so you have two triangles back to back. What I did, just to find out what would happen, which is how I'm meant to learn, isn't it, really, is I did do some weaving where I threaded all the tablets S-wise, and it comes out like that. It is a different pattern. But having said that, I quite like this one actually. I think this is quite good. So this is what we make with tablet weaving. This is incredibly strong. You can, if you have a piece of tablet weaving with you, you can play tug of war with it. Children kind of like that, and you say, right, and we can't break this, can we? This is incredibly strong, so it could be used even to make horses' reins. There's no evidence that anybody did, but there's no evidence that they didn't either. So it might have been used to make horses' reins. As far as we know, tablet weaving was just decorative. But what we're learning here is the principles of weaving, how to take thread and actually, make something functional with it in a very simple way, without a loom, with very little equipment. Yeah. Lots of things going on, lots to learn there. What I will show you quite quickly before we go is something I'm making the stairs. This is right. This is Cambridge Diamonds. So this is 3 colours, 18 cards, 18 tablets. I have one end of this wrapped around a hook in the cupboard. I can just show you a pack of 18. It's not that many actually. The Osberg ship burial in Norway, the tablet weaving that was found in there had a pack of I think it was 50 or 52. You really can do some quite phenomenal things with tablet weaving. This is quite a simple pattern. All the tablets, all the cards simply turn the same way. So come with me and I will show you why I have this going all the way across the room and into the kitchen. This is, I'll just show you, here we are. I'll just show you here, this is the other end of your warp. You can see here, this is twisted. Of course, as you're turning your tablets, your other end twists as well. And so these pieces, I'm trying to think of what to do with these. Sometimes I just use them for making latch hook rugs. But they look like the kind of thing you could maybe braid into your hair if you felt so inclined. I'll show you down here. Showing you half my house. I'm showing you here. This is a latch hook rug, and you use quite short pieces of yarn for that. Yeah. Over here you can just about see my spinning wheel. The work that's on there at the moment, the yarn that's on there at the moment, it would have been spun clockwise, so that will give you a Z twist to the to the yarn. Spinning is really just taking fleece and just putting a twist in it. I really like taking my spinning wheel to events. Children will follow the drive around and they're fascinated by the way that your foot moves up and down, and that moves, actually it's called a footman, moves the wheel, that moves the drive band. They will lose it a little bit when you start talking about gearing. When you start saying for every one time that big wheel turns, how many times does the little wheel turn? Drive ratio for a spinning wheel, something like 1 to 16. They get the idea that, you know, one big wheel driving one little wheel is much more efficient. There's a lot to learn when you're teaching children crafts. Actually, you sort of sneak in a little bit of physics, you sneak in a little bit of maths, in kind of quite a fun way. So, if you'd like to have a go teaching children tablet weaving, for little ease, best to set the warp up for them. Contrasting colours, something nice and simple, and be aware of the fact that they need to learn what the warp fibres are. They need to learn what the shed is. They need to learn what the weft is, and they need to learn that we go in both directions. And just learning how to change the warp, and just how to actually turn, and how that, how it affects the warp. And of course, a lot of places in the world, of course, people are still producing crafts in the old way. So just maybe it makes makes someone think about just how much work goes into producing some of the crafts that we buy really very cheaply. There you are, tablet weaving, practiced by the Vikings. That's always a good way of selling things to younger ones. The Anglo-Saxons, the Romans, probably goes back to what we call the Iron Age, the bit before the Romans invaded, possibly the Bronze Age, don't really know, but certainly practiced by an awful lot of people for a very long time. Died out apparently in Britain during Tudor times, but still practiced quite, over quite a way in an awful lot of places. But great way of producing little friendship band. Yeah, lovely. If you do fancy learning tablet weaving for yourself, the website I would recommend is Sheila Lewins, SHELAGH, Lewins, LEWINS.com. Brilliant lady, amazing amount of stuff on there. It is fairly mastering the basics you can do quite quickly, and you can produce something like a belt in roughly a day. So in craft worker terms, that's actually quite quick. There you are, but something that children from about the age of 8 should be able to do. Lovely. My name is Fiona Dowson. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, that would be wonderful, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care.